Hello, LCCTC, and welcome to our in-service programming. You have until Friday morning at 9 o'clock to view this video. If you do so ahead of time, you may enjoy another cup of coffee, maybe another donut, or some more times with colleagues and friends prior to our presentation about the smart TVs. So I don't have a rather lengthy presentation, but I do have some nuts and bolts information that I would like to share with you. Okay, this is a summary of some curriculum instruction assessment updates through January 2021. Some of this will be review, some of it may be new. I want all of us to be on the same page. So, for example, you can go on the COVID page and you can see information updated with instructional models. Our current instructional model is how we will finish the year. So we have academics and vocational instruction under our roof. We have some learners who have provided a medical excuse or have another mitigating circumstance that are participating synchronously, and a few people doing some asynchronous work as well, credit recovery and the like. If we would have to shut down, we will all be virtual for that period of time, and then when we return, we will be as we are. Relative to what the numbers look like at this time, if you check the dashboard, Western Pennsylvania, the state, and in particular Lawrence County are all moving in the right direction. As you are aware, evaluations are continuing and are providing a degree of normalcy. You will be evaluated on an 82-1 this year. I want to bring all of you up to speed on Act 35, but in particular the Social Studies Department, in that there will be an assessment or a proposed assessment on civics knowledge. It's to be reported in the Future Ready Comprehensive Planning portal. What we will do is what we will be doing to our seniors is giving them the citizenship test as part of their curriculum in order to meet this requirement. They don't have to pass the test, but they do have to take the assessment. I would hope that as a citizen they would pass. So currently, all PSSAs and Keystones will be taking place and on schedule. Although there was an option to do them in the summer or even do them this fall, when we would still have to do them the following spring. That did make sense. Let's use them for the information that it will give us. We know that our instruction has been challenged, so I would expect that our performance will be challenging. I'm also looking to shrink our testing window. There will be a meeting with Mrs. Lynch, Mrs. Vanasco, Mr. Milanovic, and myself, and we will be announcing the testing schedule, but we might shrink it for this time and this time only. High school students, 1920, that were in Keystone Trigger courses and or first-time test takers are being placed into a cohort to indicate they will not or ever count towards accountability. So we are looking at this year's first-time test takers as being accountable, will be accountable. Last year's test takers, if they were first-time test takers or they were in a Keystone Trigger course, will not be held for accountability. So if you were in Algebra 1 last year and now they're in Geometry or Algebra 2, then they will not be held for accountability. If they were in bio last year, they will not be held for accountability. Or if they were in our 10th grade ELA, they will not be held for accountability. But it will start then, obviously, with next year's 10th grade and this year's 10th grade. So career readiness has not gone anywhere. It's been more difficult to do, certainly, but we have done some degree of artifacts, and we are to make our best effort to try to get the 8 artifacts needed for or by grade 11. So more to come as that progresses, but as of right now, you need to know that the Keystones are still on track, and that career readiness is still a requirement as well. We still need to accumulate artifacts. Now, also, Act 136 is relative to your evaluation, and it's also addresses some graduation standards. So, for example, it delays the implementation of all those Act 158, the 4 pathways towards graduation. It delays those until the class of 2023. So obviously this year is 2021, our seniors. Our juniors are 2022. So our current sophomores are the class of 2023. All students graduating prior to 22-23 school year must do so in accordance with the LEA's, our own local policies. But our sophomores, they need to pass according to one of the 4 pathways previously described in Act 158. If you can't remember those, please feel free to reference Pennsylvania Act 158 and see what those 4 pathways are. Act 136 removed the inclusion of student learning objectives and other student performance data from the 2021 teacher and principal evaluations. Evaluations will be based solely on observation and practice. So in a very similar way, you'll be rated, if you can remember back to the old 428, which was all domains 1, 2, 3, and 4 between you and your supervisor. Other considerations for school administrators include school improvement designations. So obviously we would not want to be designated as a failing school and then have to have additional requirements on our plate. So let's talk specifically about the Keystone Assessments. Students who were enrolled in a Keystone Trigger course last year for the 1920 school year. For students graduating in 21 and 22, the Act 58 graduation requirements do not apply. The requirement to take the Keystone associated with the Trigger course in which they enrolled has been waived for accountability. So the scores for these students for the 1920 Trigger course test will never be factored in to any accountability, ESSA, FERPA, etc., teacher evaluation, PBOS, school improvement. So juniors and seniors doesn't count. Sophomores, future classes, counts. Students must be given the option to take the assessment, but may not be required. Now, how many of our kids, if we said, do you want to take it or not, are going to say, yeah, sign me up. So we are going to give the test to those who we were required to give the test, our first-time test takers. Why should they test? To adhere to local graduation requirements, to receive a numerical score. And maybe in other places that would be more relevant. I don't think our kids and the numerical score matter, nor do I think that an advanced score matters relative to our kids and their transcripts or any other academic information. All these students will be recorded as proficient. Okay. So, for first-time test takers who were enrolled in the Keystone Trigger courses in 1920 school year, who passed that Trigger course, they will be deemed non-numerical proficient. That gets a little confusing as well. So it's only done in the 1920 school year. If they're retesting this year or next year, that does not count. And if they were not enrolled in a Trigger course last year, that does not count. So if they were enrolled in a trigger course last year, they're denoted as non-numerical proficient. So all of our algebra kids, for purposes of reporting, all of our biology kids and all of our ELA kids last year are marked as non-numerical proficient. So obviously the reporting systems, when they pull and whatnot, will work because they will have a designation in there. And what could they designate them other than proficient? But again, going to our sophomores and beyond, the requirement to take the Keystone associated with the trigger course is required for federal accountability, as well as Act 158 state graduation requirements. And if you look at those other bullets that I'm currently showing you there, it's just a repeat that they will not be factored in. So again, I want to give it to you multiple times so it's clear what counts, what doesn't count, and I'll be able to answer any questions. We did get confirmation that they're planned, they'll be executed, and I told you we're going to give them on the same time frame. And again, Act 158 does not apply for this year's seniors and juniors, but it does apply for this year's sophomores. And PD has applied for an accountability waiver, and they will be getting that waiver to designate the non-numerical proficient, but there is no waiver on not taking the assessment. Well, what if they opt out? Right now, students can only religiously opt out. No-shows are marked as refusals and will negatively impact our participation rate. We do need a 95% participation rate on each assessment. We are not a Title I school, but Title I funding is tied to that participation rate. Some interesting things coming up relative to computer science and certification therein. So they are looking for teachers to practice in to a computer science, and they are also developing certification guidelines for computer science. There are teachers outside of specified certifications that are currently teaching computer science, then we can contact and make a case-by-case decision regarding grandfathering them in to a 3-year window for certification. I will provide, since this is going to be an asynchronous presentation, I will provide an opportunity prior to Ms. Weisenstein to answer any questions you might have. I appreciate your attention. I know sometimes these nuts and bolts presentations aren't too riveting, but I do believe they are necessary. I also apologize to our newbies, who it can be a little overwhelming. So I will encourage our mentors to meet with our newbies and review the slideshow separately. But I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to Mrs. Weisenstein moderating our Smart TV show and tell, as well as providing you with an opportunity for a valuable in-service day. We sent out the draft previously, so today's in-service day should not be unknown to you. Following my update, there will be a Smart TV show and tell led by Mrs. Weisenstein. These are some possible topics, but the conversation can go in the direction that you need it to go. There's been the request for some department meetings to be held this morning, and then we are offering some choices in the afternoon. So, for example, one of the choices is related to what's called a coaching character initiative. Not putting one thing on your plate, not looking to start a new class or whatnot, but really, what do we do within our classes to coach character? We're all doing it. We're all doing it. And I did send out an email with a video related to this previously. And I've also developed some reflective questions. If you're interested, and this is one of your options, it's not required. There's this 1 hour video, and you can look at it and take away from the message. And John Croyle and Nick Saban are the two speakers. John Croyle was a player for the University of Alabama under Bear Bryant in the early 1980s, and he has founded this Big Oak Ranch where, quite frankly, it's a second chance for young people. He takes those Statue of Liberty kids, your poor, unwanted, yearning to live free. And some of the quotes that I took away from him that I'd like you to reflect upon as you watch this initiative is: money doesn't make you happy. Success doesn't make you happy. Interesting concept. Why are you here on this earth? Never settle for someone else's agenda. Decisions determine your destiny. What is your priority? What is your purpose? What is your passion? And how does your book end for this year? Now, Nick Saban, some takeaways from what he brought to the table. The choices you make you who you are. How can you be the best at what you can do? How do you manage the negative things that happen to you? Be the best you can be in whatever you choose to do. Of course, the line I shared with you is: mediocre people don't like high achievers. High achievers don't like mediocre people. Do your job. Do your job. Do you pray to be blessed, or are you a blessing? Dumb players do dumb things. Smart players do less dumb things. So if you choose to use that as part of your afternoon, I wanted to share with you exactly what that was. Another option for you in the afternoon is applied digital skills. You'll be given time to further explore teaching and learning, and this is related to last month's in-service day. And then also, there will be a Google 101 refresher led by Mr. Pavia. We do have a lot of people who are new to this world of technology. This is not going to be a lecture. This is going to be more of a demonstration, and the flow of the presentation will fly based upon the questions that come, but some areas will be Google Drive, Google Slide, Google Docs, and Google Forms. So, you have your options in the afternoon of the Coaching Character Initiative, Applied Digital Skills, Google 101 Refresher, or other self-directed development that you need relative to turning your plan that you develop here into a reality based upon your department meetings. So we're looking you to make the best advantage of this time relative to what you need it for. But we are going on your professionalism and choice. So again, let me conclude by saying that I'm extremely proud to be associated with this institution, with this school, with the people who work here, with the instructional staff, and with these students. As they might say, we've been keeping it real. We're not telling them how wonderful they're doing, but we appreciate their efforts. We're trying to bring them along and providing them with every opportunity to succeed, but knowing that success for you, for them, for myself, is more of a challenge this year than it's ever been. Know again, though, that your efforts are known, your efforts are appreciated, And I would ask you to please take that message to your individual classes, that their efforts are appreciated as well. We're here, we're ready, we're respectful, and we're safe because we go where we're supposed to go. We're there on time. And each and every day, including this March 12th and Service Day, we're doing and using our God-given abilities to do the very best we can. Enjoy the rest of your day.